Think about it. 2 weeks, 8 touchdown passes, 1 rush, 0 interception. Very careful with the football. Even though he throws it like it. So we ain't got no problem, Skip. You know, some teams like, well, we want to run it. We throw it. Mahomes, throw it 50, throw it 60 times. What concerns me about them, Skip, is that they don't have a back that can run time off the clock. And if you saw yesterday when they got up to the big lead, they really had to throw the ball, swing passes, a lot of, you know, stuff like that to try to take the air out of the game. But the 49ers are for real. The thing that of all the things that concern me, 49ers are very talented. The thing that concern me the most, Skip, Chiefs defense. They make too many bonehead plays that get you beat. You jump off sides 4 times and give people first downs, you get beat. You go illegal hands to the face, 15 yards, you get beat. It's 3rd and 22. I just need to know, Breland, why the hell are you playing bump coverage?
You're not bump, you're playing grab coverage, right?
Skip, it's situational football. If they throw the ball and complete a 10-yard or 12-yard pass, so what? They still got 4th and 10. The only thing that can give them a first down, you gave them a first down on a 7-yard route because you were holding. They make dumb plays. Dumb plays, the bigger the game, dumb plays get you beat. Now, I thought they would look D Ford lining up off sides. I thought they had gotten out of that, Skip. I thought jumping off sides last year, they learned their lesson. But
D Ford's now 49?
Clearly they didn't. So that's the thing that concerns me most is the mistakes that the defense, because if I'm not mistaken, Skip, all the penalties came from the defense side of the football. You get beat. You get beat, you play that like that in a game of this magnitude, the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So now you're sort of wavering. You're on the fence a little bit.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be shocked by. If this game is not in the mid-70s, it might be the highest scoring game ever. I can see a situation, Skip, this is a 45-38, a 45-42 ball game, because both of these offenses are explosive.
So you won 2 Super Bowls playing for a coach named Shanahan.
Yeah.
His name was Mike Shanahan. Am I right about that?
Very.
Mike Shanahan is now the de facto head coach, the unofficial head coach of the 49ers.
He helps out a lot.
You could say he's the assistant head coach if you want to go that far. But game plans, he is contributing heavily to. His son is a chip off that old block because he's taken it. He might even have taken it up a notch in creativity, cleverness, guts, how you finesse teams, and then how you overpower teams. Because one thing I know about this matchup, the 49ers are the more physical football team.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Andy Reid has never had what I would call a physical football team. I thought their defense played pretty physically yesterday, but I still wouldn't consider it a physical defense.
No.
The 49ers will get after you in both trenches. I think they're a little better in both trenches. That's just me because their offensive line, nobody talks about it. It just steamrolls people. It blows people off the ball with almost what looks like rage to me, where they just delight in it after a while, and they are knocking people 4 and 5 yards off the football.
And what that does, Skip, because they can run the ball so well, it slows down the pass rush. Because you're not going to be running up the field, and there's a lane, and there's Mostert going for 20 yards. And that's what slows them down. Green Bay, the Smith was neutralized. The Smith boys were neutralized because they're trying to catch and try to shed somebody to make a tackle. How can I get up the field when I got a tight end or fullback or offensive lineman in my chest, and here come Mostert running downhill? That's what makes them so good in all areas because they can run it so well. Defensive linemen can't just pin their ears back and say, okay, we're going to get the quarterback. Like the 49ers started doing yesterday once they realized the Packers had gotten down and they weren't going to run the football. All of a sudden, Bosa, Armstead, those guys started to eat.
Okay. So, to your point, let's see, Patrick Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo? Mahomes, Garoppolo. I think I'll go Mahomes. I think so. But I'm still leaning 49ers because of all the other factors in the football game. If it degenerates to those two going at it, throw for throw, you're going to win this game. If the 49ers can play 49er football, and if they can put the heat on Patrick Mahomes that Tennessee failed to put on because the idiotic 3-man rushes. But this is a 4-man rush offense, sometimes 5, but it's 4, and they are a really good 4. They can often get home with 4. They harassed and finally just befuddled Aaron Rodgers yesterday because he's not sure where the next guy's coming from. And I don't think Aaron has the stomach to step into a lot of throws into that kind of pass rush. So Mahomes is going to get bothered early in this game and often in this game in ways he was not bothered by the Tennessee Titans. So if you got that on your side, and then you've got that zone, outside zone running game where you're just here and there and here and there, and you can pound it and control the clock and basically keep Jimmy G out of the game, I think you got a chance. Now, Jimmy G's still got a big arm. He's sort of like Ryan Tannehill.
He can make throws.
He can make some throws. He's going to have to make a few more than he did yesterday.
And the thing was, Skip, if you remember late in the ball game, even though they were running the ball to take more time off the clock, Jimmy G had to throw some passes. He completed one to George Kittle.
That was a huge one. That was his best throw of the game, or biggest throw of the game.
So, yeah, he's going to have to make some throws. But the thing is, but you don't because they haven't come into a playoffs, Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuels and those guys can still make plays now. Don't underestimate them because they've been the one thing that you must do, Skip. If you play in the West Coast offense and you play receiver, you got to block. They're the best blocking receivers in all of football. Now, I remember times when I was playing for Kyle's father, Mike, that Mike didn't think the receivers were physical enough in the run game. And we go 9-on-7. Now, you know what 9-on-7 is. There is no threat or no pass. Mike says, okay, you didn't want to block on Sunday. I'm going to see if you're going to block today. Because there's no threat of the pass, and you're going to have to dig the safeties out. You're going to have to block those corners. So you look at Emmanuel Sanders, you look at Deebo Samuels, you look at the Samuels, you look at those receivers. Anytime you run the football for 200-plus yards, your receivers are getting after people.
So what did Kittle say on ESPN last night after the game about Emmanuel Sanders? He got one target, caught no balls in the game. This is Emmanuel Sanders.
Yes.
How many? There'd be games in Denver where he'd catch, I don't know, 10, 12.
112. He went for over 100 against the Patriots in the championship game.
Okay, got it. Kittle said that Emmanuel was back in the locker room crowing about all the good blocks he had made. Because it has been instilled in those receivers, they cannot be diva receivers. We don't have Odell going here. We don't have Odell versus Jarvis here for who gets the most targets and balls. We got who threw the best blocks.
Says a lot.
And Kittle is, again.
I watched him yesterday. He did a number on the Smith boys.
He did.
Skip, he did a number. Listen. He's the best complete tight end in football. He's the most complete tight end in football. He might be the most complete tight end. He might even be a better blocker than Gronk, Skip. If you watch him, his hand placement, the way he steps and set that edge, listen, you talk to us. That wasn't my cup of tea. You know, I did a couple of times a game, get it? But I was trying to get out like a scout on a new route.
When it was time to block, you were drinking a cup of tea.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my cup of tea. They normally put me on backside. They let Dwayne Carswell House, we call him. You handle that stuff front side. I got the back over here. Come see me a little later in the fourth quarter.
But you were big play Shay. You had to make that one big play.
You watch, if this is clinic, this is textbook. The way he steps and the way he sets and gets his hands inside and turns that shoulder and drives upfield, it's a thing of beauty. Kittle is for real.
Well, I wasn't sure Raheem Mostert was for real because he led this team in special teams tackles also.
Yeah, he's a gunner.
He's a gunner.
Yes.
He's a special teams player. But he also led this team in rushing, not by a lot, but by some. And yesterday, he really led it in rushing because he got 29 carries, and I didn't think a 180-pounder could hold up with That's a lot of
carries.
A lot of carries. He's a sore young man.
For a second there, I thought our good friend OED, he started because you say, I'm not worried about Henry getting 248. It wasn't Henry you should have been worried about. It was Mostert.
It was Mostert.
But first player with 220 and 4 touchdowns. That is the first with the 4 touchdowns.
And I think he and Eric are now the only two to go 220-plus in a playoff game. I think so.
Yeah.
But he got 4 touchdowns on top of his. Eric's numbers came against my Dallas Cowboys.
No, you haven't forgotten.
I was there.
But guess what, Skip? West Coast offense against West Coast offense.
Yep.
Because that's where Andy cut his teeth. He runs that. Kyle Shanahan runs the West Coast. It's going to be a thing of beauty. I'm going to be shocked.
This is a fascinating matchup. Again, what's our spread now? Point and a half?
1.5.
What's the over-under? I bet you the over-under at least 60.
I think it was around high 50s.
It's got to be, because they know what's coming. It's coming, Skip.
Well, would you believe there's never been a Super Bowl spread that ended at pick'em, like at game time it was pick'em? I think this one might have a shot. Might have a shot.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So 25 years for San Francisco since they've won, 50 for the Chiefs. I mean, these fan bases, it's going to be wild in Miami. I'm looking forward to it.
It is a fascinating matchup.
It really is. Yep. It really is. Okay, guys, what did Conor McGregor prove Saturday night with his first round TKO? If you blinked, you might have missed it. We'll discuss next.